Systems is the science of how things connect. We're all systems, and when we deeply connect, magic emerges. Systems are networks of connections of people, ecologies, economies, computers, and much more. Systems teaches us how to relate and connect more effectively. But connecting is not always easy. So systems is also looking at how systems disconnect. So instead of connecting at boundaries, we are disconnected and might even invade the boundaries of others. As we understand systems better, we become better at creating more fulfilling futures. Now, science usually takes things apart to see how they work, whereas systems ask about the relationships between the various parts of the world and how they connect and work together. That's a very different way of seeing the world that gives us tools to transform our lives. And this has certainly happened to me. My name is Victor McGill. Welcome to my online course called Transformation Through the Wisdom of Systems. Whether you are struggling to cope with your situation, coping but know you could do a lot better, or you might just be curious about the way the world works, then learning to understand the patterns being played out in our lives helps us to develop tools to live in better, more fulfilling ways. We live in a world that tends to see everything as separate. Our mind is separate from our body, our individuality is stressed. We are separate from nature. Everything is given a monetary value, and we are told the rest of the world can be exploited with no personal impact. So while science has given us man on the moon, mobile phones, cars to drive around in, aeroplanes to travel around the planet, we also have climate change, environmental degradation, an unstable global economy, and weapons of mass destruction. We live in a world today that is becoming increasingly complex and unpredictable. One of the main causes of problems in our lives arises from this complexity of modern life. The big picture is just far too big, and the details become overwhelming. So you've heard the saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. When we look at the forest, we lose sight of the trees. When we look at the trees, we lose sight of the forest. We tend to cope with this complexity by simplifying our picture of the world down to something that we can understand. But in simplifying everything, we lose something. We tend to see complex situations as though they were black and white, right or wrong, when in reality there are lots of shades of grey. So for example, we tend to simplify people into goodies and baddies, ignoring the good in the baddies and the bad in the goodies. And since we tend to see ourselves as the goodie, it's easy to see others as baddies. We don't notice what we are contributing to making the situation worse or the positive actions of other people. So if we fail to stand back and see the bigger picture, we risk making decisions that not only fail to solve our problems, but may lead to unintended consequences that make things even worse than before. Here in New Zealand, for example, there are a number of introduced species. Stoats were brought in to control the rabbits, which had already become pests. Possums were brought in for the fur industry, and deer as game animals. These animals did not have predators here in New Zealand as they did where they came from, so their numbers just exploded. All these animals have ended up being extremely harmful on our environment. Gregory Bateson once said, "The major problems in the world are the result of the difference between how nature works and the way people think." We've become disconnected from each other and the natural world we should be a part of. Today we seem so intent on short-term economic growth that we fail to notice that we are destroying the planet that we live on. It is time to turn around that disconnection and reconnect with ourselves, with our partners, families and communities in our lives, and with the natural world we are a part of. This course will give you insight and skills to see yourself, other people and the world in a new way that allows you to adapt better to the challenges of modern life.
you.